Welkom terug. Nou, ek kan vir jou sê, daar is 'n splinter nuwe dokumentêr wat jy definitief op jou kyklys moet sit. Dit is Pangolin Kulu's Journey, wat 'n mooi dokumentêr gemaak deur dieselfde mense van my Octopus Teacher, natuurlewedokumentêr wat baie pryse gewen het. En vanoggend gesels ons met Nicci Wright. Nou, sy is 'n wildlewe-rehabilitasie-kenner by Pangolin Working Group. Good morning, Nicci.
Morning. Thanks for having me on.
Nicci, it is such a privilege to have you on this morning, and it is a beautiful documentary. Both Francho and myself watched it yesterday, and we were moved by Kulu's story. But for people who don't know, who is Kulu? Tell us more about Kulu.
Kulu is a little Temminck's pangolin, which is the species of pangolin that we get here in South Africa. And he was retrieved by law enforcement officials in a sting operation and treated at the Johannesburg Wildlife Veterinary Hospital, and then handed to the African Pangolin Working Group to do the final stretch of his rehabilitation process, which we did at the Lapalala Wilderness Reserve in the Waterberg.
It is so special. We watched the whole, I know Jennifer watched it last night, I watched it yesterday afternoon, and it was like the photography, the videography, everything in the film is just extraordinary. It's beautiful. Well, apart from the story, obviously, Nicci. So what sets this documentary apart from other documentaries about wildlife, etc.?
Well, as you say, I mean, it's an absolutely exquisitely shot film. You know, the cinematography is extraordinary, as you say. I mean, I learned things about ants that I didn't know before.
Exactly.
You know, it's just unbelievable. So, I think what sets it apart from others is that quality. And also Pippa Ehrlich, the director, who, as you know, also directed My Octopus Teacher. She just has a skill and an innate ability to link and to highlight the relationship between a wild creature or an animal and a human. And it's about that connection, you know, which is so special.
Sorry, I have to just give you credit this morning, and that's a whole team. Like, when you watch this documentary, you understand dedication and what dedication means. And I take my hat off this morning to every single one involved in not only Kulu's journey, because that's obviously what we saw, but there's so many more species and animals that you guys look after and rehabilitate and put back into the wild, and it's phenomenal. So just this morning, as a side note, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for acknowledging that. Yes, as you say, it's a team. And I mean, wildlife rehabilitation people who not only do pangolins, but all the other species, it is an absolute calling and a dedication. And there are people working on this all over the world. And I give them credit as well. It's a passion.
Nicci, we see you in the documentary as well. What was your role, and where did your passion start for wildlife?
I think I've always had that passion as a very small child. I became aware of wanting to save wildlife when I was around 4. So I'm one of those lucky people that knew what they wanted to do from very early on. My role in this Kulu's journey was just giving guidance to Gareth and an insight and helping him, you know, when there was a question, trying to answer it, that kind of thing, and just sort of being a helicopter parent over the helicopter parent.
That really is a beautiful way of describing it, helicopter parent. Because that's the other thing I did think yesterday. I don't think I would have let Kulu go. I would have kept him.
I know. But the whole thing is that you're sort of aiming with this whole process, the whole reason for it is for him to be a wild animal. And that's all we want, you know. And
It's only fair.
Exactly. That's what, I mean, after what he's been through, that's the least we can do, and to do it as well as we possibly can.
Wow.
Gareth Thomas, you mentioned his name now. Maybe you can just share with our viewers, who is he, where did he fit in the whole process? Because my heart pounded when I felt the sadness when he had to leave Kulu in the wild back and say, okay, here you go after 8 months together and. So maybe just share with us, who's Gareth then?
So Gareth is a remarkable man who came to us through Professor Ray Janssen. He felt a need to give back. You know, at some point in people's lives, they often do feel like they need something of meaning. And he was drawn to the African Pangolin Working Group and the work that was being done with pangolins. And Ray introduced him to the Johannesburg Wildlife Veterinary Hospital. And Gareth started getting involved through that. And that's where the relationship between Gareth and pangolins really started.
Nicci, this isn't just a beautiful story. This is also to create awareness. Pangolins, the most poached animals or mammals, ultimately, on Earth. Why?
Yes.
What drives this illegal trade?
Well, basically, I think, I know that there's a huge demand for their scales in traditional medicine. In Africa, but mostly in Asia, and that really is the end demand, and that is fueling the trade across Africa. And that's really putting pangolins on a very thin edge towards extinction.
Nicci, the broader theme of the film, what do you want to achieve with the message that you want to portray, especially in South Africa and the world?
Well, this little pangolin, Kulu, doesn't know, but he's a huge messenger. He's carrying pangolins into the hearts and minds of people across the globe. And that's exactly what we wanted to do, or what Pippa's intention was, to create that global awareness, to put pangolins out there in a massive way. And also for the other organizations across the world that work with pangolins through Africa and through Asia, to use the impetus of this movie and the awareness that it's created, to promote their own work.
It's so important, Nicci, because you know what? I saw this mammal, little pangolin, and it's like, you don't know anything about it, and you're scared because you think, oh, this thing's gonna bite you, and it's gonna run, and it's actually such a
Sweet.
Lovely little pet. It can actually be a pet.
No, it can't. No. No, we don't advocate keeping wildlife as pets at all, and especially not pangolins, of course.
Yeah.
But, essentially, Kulu was a young pangolin. I mean, he could still have been with his mum in the wild when he was poached. And so he was a young pangolin, and he's just a mammal, So mammals need guidance. Young mammals need guidance. They need a sort of mother or father figure, really. And that's what Gareth was. And when you're rehabilitating a young wild mammal, you do need a relationship, and they do need to play with you, and they need to cuddle, and they need to, be guided by you, because you're their sort of parent in inverted commas. And that's what you have to build that relationship with them, and then start fading that relationship out as they get more and more independent. It's almost like, you're nurturing your own child, a human child,
exactly.
Through teenage years, and then letting it go into university or into the world. It's the same sort of process, but you've got to understand a different species and try and do it the best.
You have to let go.
Nicci, how can our viewers get involved in pangolin conservation?
Well, they can go onto our website and have a look there. That's africanconservation.org. They can also have a look at the website for the movie. Just Google Kulu's Journey, and that should come up, that website, and there'll be options there. We've been getting a lot of emails from people all over the world, and directing them, to wherever we can, to help them find a way to get involved, because that's obviously what's driving people after seeing this movie. People are feeling moved and touched by the story and touched by the plight of pangolins, and that's exactly what we were hoping for with this movie.
And just to reiterate, you may not keep it as a pet. It's a wild animal.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You may not.
Nicci, thank you so much to the work you do. It really is incredible, the work that everyone did telling Kulu's story. I think it is so important to create that awareness and the effort, not only again with this, but every day that you guys go out and you save the lives of so many animals. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure. I'd just like to say thanks to you for the platform, and also thanks to everybody across the world who's working with this extremely special species. You know, we honor everybody. It's a team effort to save a species from extinction.
Absolutely. Dit is natuurlik, dit is so mooi, Nicci Wright, en sy is 'n wildlewe-rehabilitasie-kenner. Doen jouself verguns, gaan kyk gerus op Pangolin Kulu's journey. En onthou, los die wilde diere in die wild, dis waar hulle wil wees en dis waar hulle hoort.